What's going on, guys? Welcome to my Sports Corner. Today I'm going to be bringing you my immediate reaction to UFC 254 Khabib versus Gaethje. Of course, we had Khabib winning by stoppage in the main event and then immediately thereafter taking off his gloves and announcing his retirement from the sport. But I will get to that later on in the video. First off, I'm going to be starting with the prelims, the early prelims, as a matter of fact, going through the early prelims and the prelims, and then once I get to the main card, we'll be looking at my picks and how I did there. But starting off with the early prelims, we had Yoel Alvarez getting the submission victory over Alexander Yakovlev. Yoel Alvarez, like I said, got the submission, got the arm bar. He went for a guillotine earlier in the round after Yakovlev kind of shot in on a sloppy takedown. That's what happens whenever you go for that. Yoel Alvarez went for the guillotine. Kind of looked like he tired his arm out a little bit. Yakovlev, credit to him, stuck in there. But Yoel Alvarez just showed that his ground game is a little bit better than Yakovlev's. Yoel Alvarez did miss weight by about 4.5 pounds, if I'm not mistaken. 3.5. I forget. I think he weighed in at 159.5, and the limit is 156. So about 3.5 pounds. So he did give up 30% of his fight purse to Yakovlev. But Yoel Alvarez, I'd like to see him move up to welterweight. Maybe that's a move coming up in the future. He's 6'3". He's a big guy for that division, and it's not like he's 6'3" and skinny. He's pretty beefy guy. But then moving on up, we had Lyanna Jojo versus Miranda the Maverick. Maverick wins by referee stoppage, doctor stoppage. I don't know who it was. At the end of round one, she hit her with that nasty rear elbow coming out of the southpaw stance. So it was her left elbow, sliced Jojo's nose right open, and that was it. That was all she wrote. They were going back and forth. Pretty good kickboxing match that they had in the first round, and Jojo was landing pretty good, but you could tell that Miranda Maverick was landing the more impactful shots. And let me tell you, man, she's impressive. They said that she was going for a PhD, too. She's only 23. I think they said she had about 1 year left. So she's going to be a PhD by the age of 24, and she's a UFC fighter at the same time. She's an impressive lady. If you're hearing this, look, wife me up, man, because you're going places. But, good win for her, UFC debut, and you got to be proud of her. That was a good victory. Jojo is a tough girl, tough debut, and Maverick, made quick work of her with that beautiful rear elbow. Then moving on to the regular prelims, we had the draw between Jung Da-un and Sam Alvey. Split draw. Jung Da-un dropped the first 2 rounds, came back in the third round, and in my eyes was a 10-8, so I would have scored it a draw as well. Smiling Sam Alvey, was putting it on him a little bit in the first 2 rounds, and then Jung Da-un came back in that third round, dropped him with the beautiful elbow. He made some adjustments coming in that third round and saw some things, which credit to him. He was dropping, like I said, dropped the first 2 rounds. He needed that third round, needed to finish in the third round, or like he did to a 10-8 to at least get the draw. Credit to him. I would like to see a prospect like him get the win and inject some new blood into the heavyweight division. But it doesn't always go that way. Sometimes these older vets get the jump on these younger guys. But didn't happen in this case. It was a draw. Moving on, you could do the rematch. I'd like to see him just move on. Smiling Sam Alvey, that's a weird nickname to me. I always thought that was weird. He's just sitting there smiling like a fucking serial killer before the fights and during the fights. Odd nickname. A lot of these guys they try to have like badass nicknames or something cool, and then you got Smiling Sam Alvey over there. Pretty weird to me, but it's whatever. Moving on up, we had Alex Olivier, another guy who missed weight, versus Shavkat Rakhmonov. Shavkat Rakhmonov hit him with the guillotine. 4 minutes and 40 seconds of round number 1. Beautiful submission by that man, 13-0. He is a guy to watch out for in that welterweight division. He's coming out of Uzbekistan, I want to say. Same place as Borat. Let me see, I just looked him up. Shavkat Rakhmonov. He is fighting out of Kazakhstan. I'm sorry, I don't know why I said Uzbekistan. I think maybe the girl that fought Lauren Murphy was fighting other. But yeah, him and Borat are from the same place. Pretty good week for Kazakhstan. I'm sorry, almost said it again. 13-0, 100% finish rate. He's a guy to watch out for. He got the submission victory over Alex Olivier, who isn't a slouch on the ground. Pulled off that beautiful guillotine and got the job done in round number 1. Alex Olivier missed weight. He'll be forfeiting, I believe, only 20% of his purse to Shavkat Rakhmonov, and yeah, that is a guy to watch out for. Who they match him up against next, I don't know. But yeah, that is definitely a guy to watch out for. Moving on up the card, we had Nathaniel Wood versus Casey Caney in the fight of the night. Good scrap between two young prospects. Is at a catchweight 140 pounds. I had it 29-28. Casey Caney landed the more impactful shots in my eyes. Nathaniel Wood was a little busier, landed more leg kicks, was peppering him a lot more with the jab, the straight and the hook. However, Casey Caney, like I said, was whenever he landed, you could tell that it had a more significant impact than when Nathaniel Wood landed. Like I said, Nathaniel Wood was peppering him with the leg kicks, the front kick to the body, straights, jabs, hooks. But the judges ended up giving the nod to Casey Caney. There was a little bit of questionable decisioning on this card. I don't believe this to be one of them. I would have scored the fight for Casey Caney as well. He got it done unanimous. I don't fucking know what the fuck I'm trying to say. You know what I'm trying to say. He got the unanimous decision. Unanimously. There you go. I don't know if they scored it 30-27 or 29-28 across the board. I believe it was 29-28. But yeah, a good scrap there. The fight of the night. It was either between that or Jung Da-un and Sam Alvey. I don't believe they usually give it to draws. Good scrap there between two young prospects. Nathaniel Wood still got a lot of upside. Casey Caney obviously has a lot of upside. And then moving on up to the headliner of the prelim, Stefan the Skyscraper Struve versus Tai Tuivasa. I mean, what do you want to say? Struve gets KO'd again. This guy probably should hang it up, in my eyes, unless, he needs money or whatever. I respect you, that's decent money that these guys are getting paid. Not the greatest, but, it's more than your typical 9-to-5 jobs. Pretty good scrap. Tai Tuivasa said coming into this fight, he was a lot more focused. He wasn't eating KFC. I believe they said for the JDS fight before camp started, Tuivasa was around 322 pounds. That is a fat motherfucker, man. He's only like 5'10", 5'11", maybe 6 foot. Dude, 322 pounds, you're not doing something right. You are a professional fighter. You need to be taking this shit serious, And he took it serious this time and KO'd Stefan Struve with 1 second left in the first round. Stefan Struve has no chin. He is the James Vick of the heavyweight division, or James Vick is the Stefan Struve of the lightweight/welterweight division, however you want to say it. They look like, big brother, little brothers, and they both have chins like big brothers and little brothers. Their chins are both non-existent. Stefan Struve gets KO'd again, like I said. Tai Tuivasa bounces back after 3 or 4 losses in a row. Yeah, I'm glad to see it. Tai Tuivasa is a very likable guy. Gave credit to Stefan Struve after the fight, and yeah, that was pretty decent prelims there. Great opener for the pretty good main card that we had too. But yeah, we'll go ahead and move on to the main card now. Alrighty, and starting off the main card, we had the long-awaited rematch between Ion Cutelaba versus Magomed Ankalaev. Magomed Ankalaev KO'd him stiff. Oh my god, it was pretty vicious. He dropped him once. Cutelaba went for like a spinning back fist or something. Dropped him, Ankalaev hit him with the straight left. Dropped him once. Cutelaba went winging in again, and Ankalaev made him pay. I started off 0-1. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking picking Cutelaba, but I did. I regret it. Ankalaev was obviously the better fighter. Close this chapter. The rivalry's over. Ankalaev won. He is now on a 5-fight win streak in the light heavyweight division. Coming into this fight, I was, kind of baffled as to why Ankalaev was ranked 11. He had the loss to Paul Craig, and Paul Craig is ranked 14th or 15th, I want to say. So Ankalaev was ahead of the guy he lost to. I mean, I get that happens, but Ankalaev hadn't beaten anybody else that was ranked. But he showed you exactly why. The man's got good striking. Of course, the first fight, Ankalaev was being the aggressor a little more. Cutelaba was kind of, baiting him, playing possum, so to speak. Making Ankalaev be the aggressor so Cutelaba could be the counter striker. That plan went out the window with the ref blowing his cover. Started off 0-1. Like I said, Ankalaev closed that chapter of his career, closed that rivalry. Good to see both guys showing a little bit of respect to one another after the fight. And yeah, so started off 0-1. We'll go ahead and move on up the main card now. Alrighty, and moving on up the main card, we had Lauren Murphy getting the submission victory over Leah Shakirova in round 2, 3 minutes and 31 seconds. And also, if I didn't mention, Clive got the TKO in round 1, 4 minutes 19 seconds. But yeah, I am now 1-1. I picked Lauren Murphy. I did pick her by decision. However, women's MMA, they get a lot of decisions, but that didn't happen in this case. Lauren Murphy made quick work of her opponent. Her opponent, of course, was stepping in on short notice. However, she, had a decent record, 8-1. I don't know what her opponent's records were. She could have just been crushing cans. She's coming in on a little bit of a win streak, I believe, 3-fight win streak coming in. But Lauren Murphy, just outclassed her, ended up getting the submission victory in round number 2. I believe that was the first submission victory of her career. Hats off to her. She looked great, as she should, being the number 5 ranked women's flyweight contender versus an unranked fighter making her UFC debut. Hopefully they keep Shakirova around, let her get, a couple more fights in the UFC. She stepped in on short notice. You got to feel for the girl. But yeah, Lauren Murphy looked good out there. Like I said, as she should have. I'm excited to see what's next for her. Then moving on up the main. Alrighty, and moving on up the main card, we had Phil Hawes absolutely flatlining Jacob Malkan, a man making his UFC debut 18 seconds into round number 1. Phil Hawes fucking steamrolled this guy. I picked Phil Hawes by second round TKO KO. I thought this guy would stand a little bit better of a chance. He was an undefeated fighter, albeit at 4-0. Wasn't happening. Phil Hawes hit him with I believe it was a right hand while Malkan was ducking down. Followed it up, completely flatlined him. Malkan was completely done. No argument from me. Beautiful stoppage. And yeah, Phil Hawes, his name sounds like Phil Horse. It's one of those names. Gotta love it. He's an interesting guy, in that middleweight division. I'm excited to see what's next for him. I don't know exactly who to match him up against next. I'd have to look into it a little bit. But yeah, looked impressive. I believe he should have gotten, a performance of the night. I forget who they gave it to. They might have given it to him. I know they gave Khabib, and then the fight of the night was Caney versus Nathaniel. But I'm pretty sure he got it. He better have if he didn't. Got the job done in 18 seconds. Was the second fastest middleweight debuting finish or something, some odd stat like that I saw. But yeah, beautiful finish from him. I picked him to win, like I said, by second round KO, TKO. I am now 2-1 on the main card. Yeah, beautiful finish by your boy there. All right, and moving on up the card, we had Alexander Volkov TKOing Walt Harris. 1 minute and 15 seconds into round number 2. He hit him with the front kick. Looked like it hit him in the solar plex. Walt Harris immediately hunched over. Volkov, pounced on him. That was it. Feel bad for Walt Harris. He just kind of can't seem to catch a break, but Volkov is a killer. He called out Overeem, Junior Dos Santos, and Rosenstruck after the fight. I like to see him matched up against either of those guys. He came in with some new ink, as you see there. I don't know what the fuck that is on his back. So please let me know in the comments down below. Looks pretty cool. But yeah, Volkov, coming off that loss of Curtis Blades, got that bad taste out of his mouth. I don't really want to say questionable matchmaking. Both these guys were close in the rankings. Volkov was 7th and Walt Harris was 10th. But yeah, Volkov definitely showed that he is a step, if not a couple steps above Walt Harris in terms of the heavyweight pecking order. Showed what he's made of. Showed that, he is the better striker. I know Walt Harris coming in said that he was the best striker in the heavyweight division. Alexander Volkov definitely showed that is not the case, and that he has something to say about that. TKO'd him in round number 2. Beautiful performance by Alexander Volkov. I'd like to see him matched up. I'd like to see him against JDS next. I think that's a good matchup. Overeem and Rosenstruck, I think, should be matched up against one another. So let's go ahead and do JDS versus Volkov. And yeah, I picked Alexander Volkov to get the job done. I picked him by decision. He got it done by stoppage. I'm now 3-1, I want to say. Doing pretty good. Got off to a bad start. I, for some godforsaken reason, picked Kudalaba. But we put that behind us. 3-1 now. And then moving on up. All right, and then moving on up to the co-main event, we had Robert the Reaper Whittaker versus Jared the Killer Gorilla Cannonier. Whittaker just completely outclassed him, outpointed him. looked better. I believe all the judges gave 1 round to Jared Cannonier. The second round, I would have given it to Whitaker. I had it 30-27 across the board. But yeah, a lot of people coming into this fight we're sleeping on Whitaker. That is the former champ. Don't forget who he is. He is now 9-1 in the middleweight division. The only person he's lost to is the champ. Whitaker's a beast, man. You can't sleep on him ever. He had those 2 wars with Yoel Romero. Then he lost to Izzy. Got the decision over Till. Got the decision over Cannonier. Ref could have stopped it potentially in that 3rd round. Cannonier hung in there. He's a tough guy. Cannonier didn't look bad, but Whitaker just showed, he's the better fighter. Cannonier was hitting some good leg kicks, but Whitaker just was better. Was pumping the jab out there. Was hitting them with the jab straight. Sorry, I'm trying to fix the little lettering there. But was hitting him with the jab straight rear head kick that he loves to hit him with. He said he saw it was there the whole fight. However, he hurt his foot in the 1st round or something, I believe. But, was putting the jab in his face, hit him with a couple good shots in the 1st and 2nd round, and then the 3rd round just kind of took it over, wobbled him, dropped him with the like I said, the jab straight rear head kick, hit him right on the temple as Cannonier leaned into it. Cannonier was stumbling around. You could tell he was pretty significantly rocked. Ended up falling over. Whitaker pounced on him. Didn't end up getting the finish. Cannonier, the tough guy that he is, stuck in there, fought some more. The fight ended and Whitaker ended up getting his hand raised. I know the champ Izzy was calling out Cannonier, saying that was the next fight. No, sir. You got to rematch Whitaker. Whitaker's a beast, man. I'd like to see that fight sometime early next year. Whitaker, Adesanya 2, headliner of a pay-per-view. It'll sell good. You could probably put it in Australia, get some fans back. I know they said they're holding live events. You could do Izzy, Whitaker, and then you could get the other champ Volkov versus Ortega. That'd be a cracker of a card. Let's give these Australian crowds something to cheer for. Yeah, Whitaker looked great out there. His first 3-round fight in a long while, and he showed what he's made of. He's just a better fighter. Cannonier didn't really have too much for him. Like I said, landed some good leg kicks, but nothing other really than that. Landed a good punch at the end of the 3rd round. But that was after he got dropped in that round. Was undoubtedly Whitaker's. And yeah. Alrighty, and before I forget, I picked Robert the Reaper Whitaker to win. I picked him by 2nd round KO TKO decision. 4-1 on the main card, and then moving on up to the main event. Man, this is going to be, a lot of people are going to be talking about this fight. You had Khabib Nurmagomedov getting the submission victory over Justin Gaethje, round 2, 1 minute and 34 seconds in. Got the mount on him, hitting him with the triangle. Justin Gaethje tapped, 3-4 times. Herzog didn't see it, ended up going limp. Herzog then saw that Gaethje went limp, stepped in. What do you want to say, man? Khabib is one of the greatest fighters we'll ever see. He announced his retirement immediately after the fight. Immediately after the fight, he was crying in the middle of the octagon. Took him a while to get it together. After the decision was announced, Anik was trying to give him an interview, and Khabib's taking off his gloves, and I'm like, why is this guy so worried about taking off his gloves? Usually you do that after when you retire. It's not really that big of a deal after a fight. You just do that once you get back in the locker room or whatever. Then Khabib gets on the mic in the interview and pays tribute to his father and says this will be his last fight. And wow, it was shocking. He says he doesn't want to. Doesn't want to fight anymore without his father on this earth. It was a discussion that him and his mother had. His mother actually didn't even want him to fight in this fight, so we were very fortunate that we got to see Khabib one last time. I mean, what do you want to say? Khabib is just a beast. He looking at his championship run. He beat Iaquinta by decision. Then he fought McGregor, subbed him in the 4th round. Then he subbed he subbed Poirier in the 3rd round. Then now he subbed Gaethje in the 2nd round. So each fight, there's an improvement, clear improvement. Some of the refs gave the 1st round to Gaethje. I didn't see it. 2 of them actually gave it to Gaethje. So Khabib was down on the scorecards. Didn't matter. Khabib got the finish, choked Gaethje unconscious. announced his retirement after the fight, it brought me to tears. It was sad to sad to see. I'm getting a little choked up about it now. But yeah, Khabib, it was a great champion, 29-0. Announced his retirement, closed this chapter of his life, and like he said, doesn't want to fight anymore without his father. His father's been by his side every step of the way. Growing up, his father trained him, his father coached him from childhood all the way up to where he is now. Great champion. And yeah, he doesn't have to prove anything else. He'll retire as undoubtedly the number one pound for pound fighter in the world. Hands back his title in a badass move. That's always, it's not good for the UFC, but it looks real good on the fighter. Handing back the title and saying, hey, look, man, none of these guys can fuck with me. Here, take it back. I'm done. Y'all have at it. It's never good for the division that he leaves behind. Good for that fighter, and we probably won't be able to see the GSP fight. Don't matter to me. Khabib proved all he needed to prove. He's undoubtedly one of the top 5, if not top 3, goats of MMA, and went out on top. He's been through a tough year. Dana White said in the post fight interview that Khabib actually broke his foot and was fighting with a couple broken toes too. As you see, there was some tape on his toes. Didn't say anything. Khabib being the badass that he is, just fought on, got the victory over Gaethje. And what do you want to say? First round, it's that pressure. It's crazy. Khabib, doesn't have the greatest striking, but he is just somehow able to pressure these guys and going backwards. He doesn't, pressure them with great striking or nothing. It's, I don't know if it's the takedown threat or what it is, but he just gets them to go backwards. Nobody can really march Khabib down. Looking at the first round, Khabib won it in my eyes, landed the better strikes. Justin Gaethje is a great striker, but I don't know if it's just how unorthodox Khabib is or what it was, but, Gaethje just looked like weird out there. It was just like a weird, odd striking match between the two of them that Khabib was definitely getting the better of. At the end of the round, Khabib took him down, got to, I believe, top mount, was trying to pull off the arm bar. Bell rang. It was the end of the first round. Gaethje was in a horrible position, then moving on into the second round was a little bit more of the same. Khabib ended up taking him down, getting the mount, hitting him with the triangle, and then falling back on his back, and Gaethje got choked out. Like I said, Khabib, decided that was it. He doesn't have anything left to prove. He, cleared out the lightweight division. He beat your number 1 contender, your number 2, your number 4, and then Iaquinta, he beat Barbosa, beat Michael Johnson. There's just a long list of guys that he beat. He didn't have the longest title reign, but this guy was never dropped, never cut. Gaethje hit him with some decent strikes, hit him with some good leg kicks, but it didn't matter. Khabib was undoubtedly the better fighter out there. Ended up getting the job done. I picked Khabib to win. I picked him later in the fight, but they were about equal on the feet. Gaethje was obviously a little bit better on the feet. They looked about equal, and then the wrestling, you have to give a slight advantage to Gaethje, and then, once they get down to the ground, the jiu-jitsu was just way on Khabib's side. It was just unmatched. Gaethje was able to thwart one of the takedowns. I believe Khabib shot 2 or 3. But, like I said, once Khabib got him down, it was just night and day difference between, the transitions, the control, all that. Gaethje is decent at keeping the fight standing, but if he gets taken down, it was over, as Khabib showed. If there was about 20 seconds left in the first round, Khabib probably would have gotten the job done there. Didn't matter. They move into the second round, Khabib gets the job done there. Yeah, you got to feel for the guy. If this really is it, thank you, Khabib. I appreciate you. I'm one of the biggest McGregor fans out there, but you can't, not respect Khabib and the man he is. I don't think anybody could beat him. So there's nothing really to prove at this point. He beat everybody that the UFC lined up for him. Of course, you know, he had a couple questionable fights back in the day, Gleison Tebow, you know, but that's a completely different Khabib. You know, it was 5, 6, 7 years ago. I'm not even sure how many years ago it was, but this Khabib is you know, leaps and bounds better than that Khabib. And yeah, you know, he took off his gloves, announced his retirement, and this is it. Thank you, Khabib. Love you. I'll see you guys next time in my next video. Once again, thank you, Khabib.